Mic check. Hello,
There we go.
ladies and
Uh,
gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Two Beers Deep, the podcast about absolutely nothing. No Elsass tonight. It is just guys being dudes here. One
hmm
thing I have to say to you, Greg, I received a text before the show, some
Okay,
information that is vital to you.
to
First,
me.
you
Okay.
specifically, yes.
Well, I'm surprised that it was given to you instead of directed to me. So that's interesting to say the least.
Why would it be? Why would that's
Well,
just
I would
getting the
think if
middleman involved? You know?
well, why would a middleman need to be involved? Like you would think that if this was information pertaining to me, why can't it be sent directly to me? Like I would be confused why a middleman would have to be involved. Is this like some shady like deal I shouldn't be aware of or
Kind of.
something? Okay.
Who do
I
you think
this
it's
is if this
from?
well, if it's someone shady and someone a little sneaky snake, well, I would have my first guess would have been Elsass, but he's probably doing
He's drunk.
some yeah, he's drunk, doing some weird shit in
Yep.
down south. We're not gonna give his location, but all we'll say is that he's pissed. He
Atlanta.
can't gamble. Well, he can't gamble. I was gonna give a hint for that one, but
I mean, there's
uh,
other states where you can't gamble in though.
yeah, but fuck Georgia. In terms of someone who is
Go off.
sneaky and underhanded, I would also guess Ping in that one as well.
Why?
But
He's
I don't
done
know.
nothing
Ping,
but be a friend to you.
I know, but Ping strikes me as someone that can be a little underhanded. Some if he wanted to in that case. I don't know. Vibe I get from him if
Well,
you ask me.
honestly, you know what it is? It's Josh's
Hmm.
inability to like know who's his friend. That's what it comes down to me.
Ah.
Because with Josh, he attacks Ping for leaving him out of a bracket. But here's the other side of it. Here's the thing that a lot of
Mhm.
people don't get.
Which, by the way, we're just now announcing like the new like story and thoughts on the bench circle right now is that Ping left Josh out of the bracket pool for this past weekend. So that did not go over well with one producer, Josh Elsass.
Oh, so let's break down the text first. We talking shit. Hold on. Bueno said we talking shit today, Greg.
Bueno's another
I
one who
think
I would
that's
have
what
thought
he
would be
said.
Bueno's another underhanded, seedy character that I could see. But then again, I don't have
Oh no,
Bueno's
he
number,
said
so I'm not
stickball.
surprised.
Sorry, I'm still trying to
Mm.
learn Bueno. So we switched from Twitch to OBS, and for some reason, it says we talking ste today. Greg is the only thing that shows up. There we go. That was weird. No, my dad texted me. So weird of you to just talk shit.
Why wouldn't Chipper just text me?
He said, "Let Greg know I mowed
Okay.
today."
I am not mowing yet. It is too early, way too early. My grass is barely grown outside. It is not the beginning of mowing season yet, Chipper. You can do it if you're off or whatever or have the free time to do it. I ain't mowing my lawn yet. No. It just snowed yesterday.
You're a
Give some
curmudgeon.
time. Yes, I am. I don't like mowing my lawn, damn it. It's a lot of work.
All right, let's crack these open. Neither of us are drinking tonight. I will discuss
Mm-mm.
that. We have a lot of thoughts on the bench stuff to unpack. So let's
We
crack these
do.
open. We'll spend about 10 minutes talking thoughts on the bench. Bueno, what's up, Levy? 3, 2, 1, action. Also, I didn't realize it was still on. The TV's still loud as hell. So talk about your lawn for a second.
Yeah, listen, folks, this is not me basically being like yelling, people get off my lawn or anything like that. It's literally the fact that when I bought my house, I was not planning on buying one with a lawn. That is something I did not want to do. I hate doing yard work. It's something I didn't want to do at all that. And to coin a wrestling terminology, I worked myself into a shoot and I got great value. And now I have a lawn to mow and I hate doing it. So that's the end of it.
So let's unpack some thoughts on the bench stuff. One,
Let's do it.
so Josh texted us out of the blue and was like, here's our group for March Madness.
Yes.
My issue with the way he handled it, because Ping in another group chat for the Music League, or no, this was not the Music League chat.
No, this was the group chat you made when you were home in the
Which
winter.
I also don't know why, but I think Ping thought this was the Music League. I came home and I said, hey guys, everyone that's in Pittsburgh for the holidays, we should get together, have our annual meeting.
Yep.
Ping sent it to that one. So Josh says, here's the bracket. One, the assumption that someone else wasn't already doing it, or the gusto to not care to ask, that's why this is all Josh's fault, in my opinion.
Well, here's the thing. I think now that he's back in the fold, he now likes keeping himself busy, so he likes being proactive,
No,
and therefore
he likes assuming that no one else is going to do things and then just throwing his hands up and doing them, despite the fact that someone else probably did it.
Fair. Although I would imagine that he probably wouldn't have expected Ping of all people to do something like that.
Ping's a doer.
That's fair, but also Josh and Ping don't know each other that well, which might explain why there's animosity between the two already. So
there's not animosity between them. There's animosity from Josh. Ping
but
was just you can just join our bracket, and Josh went off on his normal tangent. I don't know. It sounds like your team Elsass, which is an interesting take here, considering the evidence.
Well,
because you already
it's
called
not that
Ping hostile for some reason.
I called him a potential shady character just because I don't know him well enough yet. That's all. I love. I do. I know. I love Ping, but still, it's funny. And I also think Josh just has this idea that he wants to be the one to essentially put everything out there and be in charge of everything. So therefore, he's pushing it himself, but not realizing that he feels excluded, and therefore that's where he gets into attack mode.
Yeah, sure. If we all want to sit here and pretend that we just, if you want to be the leader and do stuff, it's always good to ask if there's something already in place you can improve, not just assume no one did it.
I will admit that's where he made his mistake, was essentially not thinking that someone else had already done it. Because in fairness, there's a very good chance that you probably would have set it up too, more than likely.
I avoid setting things up, but I also, it's because of the history of us, I would have been like, yo, do we want to do this? And everyone would have been like, yeah, and then I would have set it up. Ping asked if he could set it up. I was like, fuck yeah, set it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And in fairness too, Ping's covering himself too for the fact that he dropped the ball with NFL mock draft stuff, but that's for another topic.
Yeah. I mean, we can unpack that too. Ping signed up to be a mock boy. We don't have Stickball on here today, Bueno, but we can bring up Stickball, by the way.
No.
Yeah, Ping signed up to be a mock boy.
Ping told me he's an NFL draft nerd. I bring him into the group chat. I'm expecting all this wisdom and knowledge from him, and we barely get shit.
Marsha, I don't know. Greg is just loud. You can comment those things, Mom, too.
Yeah.
I thank you for. She said Greg is much louder than you. It's just because he's loud as shit.
I'm dramatic. I'm over the top.
Make sure all my volumes are up the whole way. Yeah, okay. Well, I turned them down, so we'll see what happens. Other issues going on at the bench. NBA, yo, Dean Greg, best doing sports talk. What's up, NBA? Good to see you, buddy.
What up, NBA rigged?
Greg hates Dad, I think.
No, I just hate that Chipper's. You know what it is? Chipper's being antagonistic towards me because Tottenham plays Southampton this weekend, and Southampton is very close to being relegated, and I don't need this. Agitation and attacking from your dad. Just saying. I don't appreciate it.
Mom, what you would do is there's a chat. It'll be a little box, and you can type with the remote if you'd like, or pull the YouTube up on your phone and type, or speak into the remote if it has that capabilities. But I can't QA your new Fire Stick TV while doing a live talk show that's going to be turned into a podcast too. But I appreciate you.
Can't you just have Nico do it? I mean, he's the other son and available.
Yeah, call Nico and ask him how to do it.
You might be able to call Nico on the Fire Stick TV for all we know. That might be a new capability.
The other issue we have on the bench is that Dre was right about some stuff. So
when did that ever happen too? This is what I'm saying. He's on a roll apparently. He has to start betting a lot of money now because he's clearly the hottest he's been in forever. Yeah, I know he won't. But
I mean, for them to call themselves furmen, where's the chat box? Mom, call Nico. I can't. I'm doing the show. I'm doing the show that you're watching. I can't. I don't know what. I don't even know what your TV looks like. I literally have not even seen your TV. This is it. I can. Zoom. You want to join the Zoom? We can do that.
have her in as a third box.
Yeah, we can QA. We can do that, or just go to YouTube on your phone. We'll figure it out. Jordan is selling Hornets. What?
Huh?
NBA just said that. No way.
Oh, I just got this just in. Michael Jordan is engaged in serious talks to sell majority stake in Hornets.
Mom, I'm done
Wow.
reading your text. You got to comment, or else I can't read those anymore.
Yeah. Ballsy on his part, especially when they're in the Victor Wembanyama sweepstakes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, they've sucked his entire existence. It's the literally only blemish on his resume outside of saying "fuck them kids" and Republicans buy shoes too. Those are the only other two like things you can knock Jordan. Well, I guess he got his dad killed.
Yeah.
Dre has been correct about a lot of stuff. He said Fletcher Cox would take a hometown discount, which happened. What were the other? He had another one that he hit on that was surprising.
I'm struggling on that because here's the thing. Usually when Dre likes to proclaim knowledge into the universe, we kind of take it for granted because usually it goes one and out the other, and it's usually something absurd
The
and
Fletcher
ridiculous.
Cox one, though.
But the Fletcher Cox one is surprising. I'll give you that. Especially, I was kind of not surprised because he's older.
Yeah.
I would say, but yeah, I would have still thought that he'd get big money somewhere else. But unless he's on that Jason Kelsey mindset now of just taking 1-year deals and staying with the Eagles, hey, more power to him.
NBA asked if we want to join the NCAA bracket. My only issue with that is that we would be 100% correct because there's no way anybody in the world is 100% correct going into after today's game. This was an amazing day, NBA, so I would feel bad just because of that alone. One of my groups, Greg, is 52% correct. Oh, wow, they're both 52.3% correct. Looks like I did the same group. That's tough.
For the record, I'm in the boat where I just do one bracket and then just submit it for
Yeah,
everything.
that's the nice thing about ESPN.
Yeah, I don't like doing multiple different ones and stuff. I think that's kind of cheating.
Cheating.
Yes, cheating.
I think if you're able to legally do it, it's not cheating. Cheating is like using spider tack in baseball. This is an
that's
advantage.
definitely cheating.
But here's the thing. I don't submit 4 brackets to the same group.
Okay.
Each group has one bracket that I sit there and I go, today, how do I feel? It's not like I'm sitting there just making a million.
Okay. See, that's the stuff that drives me nuts is people that make multiple of them just for the sake of, just for the sake of it or trying to get better odds to win. I personally like the fact of sticking to one and seeing if it ends up being the one that you guide with the rest of the way.
Yeah.
You have a rooting interest to it because then you could end up like picking an upset in one of them, and then you'll be like, "Oh, I don't care what happens in this one." No, you stick with one, and then you make it work.
Yeah, the thoughts in the bench bracket is my bracket. I have one with Cumberland, my job, but the thoughts in the bench bracket's the bracket. One other piece of thoughts in the bench news, Greg. I think, and I have to double check, so this will be the first time anyone's heard it. So NBA, it's a good thing you're here, Mom and Dad too. I am going to have to, by request of Ian Moorhead, the middle Moorhead child, turn on the Thoughts on the Bench store.
By request of one of the Moorheads, you're doing this. Interesting. Okay.
Ian has I don't think the person watches our stuff or anything. Has a birthday coming up that he asked for a shirt that I'm helping him with, and I was like, yeah, I can just put it in the store or whatever. You'll be the one. But by doing that, I believe that I will spend the $30 to have it open for a calendar or for a month. So what I might do is pay the $30 to have it and make 3 limited items, and those are the only 3 things.
This is something you discussed with me and Josh previously. I love this idea. If you make it exclusive, like on a month-to-month basis, so like if you open it. Like, let's say you open it on April 1st, and then for that entire month, you only pick those specific items for that month. I like it. I like this idea. 3 items though, super limited and super unique on that. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't exactly know what I'm doing yet, but we'll figure it out. NBA says, "Oh, you can just slide our existing brackets into his." Greg, I did not know that.
I did not know that either.
I thought it was make a new one.
Yeah, because then, see, that would be cheating.
Oh, to make a new one. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, that would absolutely be cheating in that case. Hey, pick Princeton wins. I got a hunch.
Yeah, Arizona's out in the first. So the store might be alive. I don't know. We'll see. Since I'm obviously not drinking tonight, I think after the show I got to take a stab at getting it up for IH. So I'm going to see if I can come up with some designs based on some new items and stuff. Patrick Peterson, welcome. NBA, we have a whole conversation about the Steelers. We got NFL updates. We got March Madness. We got NBA news. We got Ja Morant. We got the NFL draft. And we're finishing it with a 2-round mock draft back and forth. Greg and I will go head to head. We'll decide the things a little closer to that, so no stress.
Buckle your seatbelts, because it's going to be a long evening.
The best thing about this graphic is that I have Arizona right there, Greg. March Madness is underway. An electric first day. Yes. Best 60 cents I ever spent was on Forum, so you know what I mean, man. It's an interesting bet. And the best thing is that you shot me a text saying you really, or Forum, you really bet Furman to win. And I was like, no, I took a money line. And I was like, oh, no. Yeah, I had 60 cents, no bracket, no producer. What's up, Sid?
Wow. Okay, Sid. Coming out of hot
Sid, the party hat.
Jeez.
Yeah, I had Furman winning for 60 cents. And in another parlay, I had them covering by 5.5. But you know who really ruined that parlay was West Virginia.
I saw that. Yeah, 2.5 on the parlay. That's some bullshit. And then Maryland ended up winning by 2. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was frustrating that they were negative 2.5, but they're the lower seed. I was like, whatever. Because if it was up 2.5, they would have won because they lost by 2. So that was frustrating.
Right. Yeah. So you lost it on the parlay, but I'm pretty sure you got your 2 money line ones, right?
Yeah. So I got Bama, which was I spent $30 to win 30 plus $15 worth of credit, which was good. And then
nice.
So I'm sitting here 20 down technically, and I'm gonna do another run tomorrow. I think once a day during these earlier ones, I'm just gonna do a parlay, a gimme, and a couple stupid ones. So far, Greg. So Alabama wins over Texas A&M CC. Maryland wins over West Virginia in a no-biter. San Diego State kicks the dog shit out of Charleston. Virginia loses to Furman, which is crazy. Missouri beats Utah State, all standard there. And then some of the other ones here. Kansas beats Howard 96-68, which is crazy. Arkansas beats Illinois 73-63. And the talk of the town, Gregory, Princeton over Arizona, the 15 seed upsetting the 2 seed. This is the... So... Hey, I can chat on my phone. There you go, Mom. Here's mine. Join anytime. Thanks, NBA. It is the first time that a dork school in the Ivy League won as like the 15 seed, because Harvard won a few years back, and I had them. This was back.
They were like a 12 or 13.
Yeah,
I remember correctly.
And Arizona is the only team in 2 tournaments to lose to the 15 seed at any stage. So shout out those frauds.
Dude, what threw me off, and I saw this on Twitter today, it's 11 years ago today is when Lehigh beat Duke. That threw me off so bad, because that was the CJ McCollum team that beat Duke.
Yep.
Oh my God. I forgot. I remember being I think I was in my parents' basement watching that too, which was crazy. But yeah, it's cool that an anniversary like that happens when a 15 beats a 2. Zona was a lot of people's popular pick to get to the final.
It was Jay Billis's. So, he was his winner.
Yeah. Yeah. So like that killed a lot of people right there on that perspective. I actually watched the end of that game pretty much like before I went to go shower and then like get ready for the show and stuff like that.
Hot.
Princeton went on a 9-0 run to close out that game to win that too.
Nerds,
That's impressive. Very, very impressive. Like, I think we don't, and I think the whole mid-major stuff is crazy and stuff, but everything that has been led to believe, because I haven't paid much attention to college basketball this season outside of Pitt, obviously, because I'm a fan. But like everything I've read and every like talking head pundit that has said the same thing is that this is the most unpredictable field that has ever been, because of the fact that there's been just chaos throughout like the entire season. For the fact that the starting season number 1 isn't even in the tournament. Number one teams overall have lost more times than ever in the entire regular season. So this very well could be one of the best March Madnesses we've ever seen, simply for that. And it's early. We've already got 2 double-digit seeds that have had upsets so far.
Yeah, and all the blue bloods outside of Kansas are really low seeded. UNC doesn't make it. Michigan doesn't make it, which is crazy. I think Kentucky's 5 or 6.
They're 6, I think.
6.
Yeah. Duke's a 5.
Duke's a 5, which I love. I don't know. What's Villanova? Did they even make it?
I don't think Villanova made it.
That's what I'm saying is a lot of like the major teams that we always are like, well, they're in it. They got a good chance of winning it. Like Xavier at 3 is fine. Gonzaga's a 3 seed.
UCLA at 2 is pretty is also pretty on par for blue blood, I'd say. So that's
So it's what's interesting to me is that it's super spread out. None of these teams feel great. Like I have Alabama winning it all just because I watched them play a decent bit and they looked really good and their path isn't crazy. But for me, like I don't feel comfortable. This was the first year that I didn't go, oh yeah, that team's gonna win it. Like I liked Texas in the preseason. Them coming in as a 2 seed is great.
Yeah.
I think Alabama coming in as a 1 is great. Purdue coming in at 1, I feel like are frauds, but probably going to be good. Duke's up 11 on Oral Roberts right now, which is crazy. So, I don't know. I liked it a lot more because there wasn't a definitive favorite.
Yeah, so I got Duke going to the Final Four,
Agreed.
actually, in mind. And the reason I do is because I watched how great they were in the ACC tournament when they won it.
So good.
Because I did not realize how I didn't realize like how banged up they were during the regular season. And then just watching them, that Kyle Filipowski kid is like 6'11", can shoot.
Yes.
And he's like just producing doubles all over the place like crazy. That dude's good.
Very.
He's gonna be a problem for them. And they got really good guard play and really good size. So the fact that they're a 5 seed, like that's going to be something that is going to be really impressive to watch down the way. Like they could very easily win that region very well. But aside from Duke, I look at all of these teams, man. This is one of what makes this a weird year as well. This is, I think, the first year that when you think about like how the 1 and done rule kind of like came into effect and how that's kind of like made March Madness, where you get like there's always like some really good pro prospects in the tournament such. This is the first time now that we have like overseas games and the NBA G League Ignite and overseas elite and like all of these other options that now some of the top players are going to.
Yep. There's
not really that dominant guy that everyone follows in college basketball this year.
Agreed.
I mean, I'd say off the top of my head, like the most well-known guys in the field right now, Brandon Miller for reasons that we don't want to discuss, probably Zach Edey.
Yeah, but he's also the best player in college basketball.
Yes.
So we can just the upsides. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, the upside's there. Probably Zach Edey because he's just tall as hell.
I don't think he goes in the first round. I think he's a bust.
Oh God, no. I'm not saying that.
I know.
And then the other one is Oscar Tshiebwe because he was very good last year, came back this year, and is one of those rare Kentucky guys that stayed 4 years to produce, and was also confused for Victor Wembanyama by our own Josh Elsass.
So NBA says I have Gonzaga. I believe in Timmy. Texas is my heartfelt champ. Their second favorite to win it all. Agreed there. Who was there was somebody like the dude from Purdue, Zach Gray, that Josh was like, oh, no, he's going to get drafted. And you and I were both like, no, he's not going to get drafted. It was a big white guy. Who was it? I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago.
Wow.
There was a guy where Josh was like, yeah, but he's really good. And we're like, no, he doesn't. Like, he's not going to get drafted.
Would it have been probably someone from like Gonzaga or something?
Maybe. It wasn't the mustache guy.
Okay.
It was somebody that was like good, but they were just a big white guy.
Yeah, those usually don't translate well to the NBA unless you're super skilled.
It's the one time that I'm just like about to text Josh on his day off and ask. I don't know. It was Eddie. No. Who was it?
I can barely remember guys that played last year, honestly.
That's what I went through the last 2 drafts. I have no idea who it was. Anyways, it was a guy that Josh was like, well, no, he'll like go, and we're like, no, he was bad. Like not bad, but he's good for college, bad for the pros.
Yeah, which for the record is way more common in college basketball than I think more people kind of like. I feel like that's something that people don't like connect the dots on a lot, is that guys who are very good in college basketball 9 times out of 10 are not going to translate to the NBA. That's just how it is. Like guys are. That's not how the NBA goes at guys. I don't remember the. Actually, I slightly do. The last time I remember, the last time I specifically remember, like a guy who played 4 years in college and got drafted high, it was probably Chris Dunn.
Yeah. Wow.
And that
What
was
a name too.
And that is a long time ago.
Darius Slay's deal is 3-year, $42 million. Wow.
From the Eagles?
Yeah, we weren't doing that one, buddy.
No, absolutely not. Surprised the Eagles are like retaining a bunch of their corners too. I would have thought they tried to
because Fletcher Cox took a hometown deal, man. Shout out Dre. Yeah. Can't even talk shit.
And they re-signed James Bradbury too. Like that's surprising in and of itself. But yeah, good on them. I thought for sure they'd lose way more guys in free agency, but they've so far I think they've only lost Edwards, they've lost Mike Epps, Marcus Epps, and I think that's about it. Because Brandon Graham even took a hometown discount, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Eagles are doing pretty well.
For the life of me, I can't think of who Josh was talking about.
Is this going to eat at you for like the entire?
It is. Here's the thing. I remember us talking. It was Christian Leitner's a really good name there, NBA.
Great poll.
It was. We had a conversation where a guy was doing really well, and we were both like, no, like he'll be, and maybe was it even freaking basketball? I'm all over the place. March Madness, Greg. The other thing I wanted to touch on for today is Huggy good at West Virginia? I don't get him. He reminds me of Mike Leach, where everyone loves him, and I think he's super. Like Mike Leach. He's super. Yeah, he does look like him.
He looks like Mike Leach.
Rest in peace. He looked like Mike Leach. My thing about it is he's lovable. He's funny. He just doesn't ever win. Like West Virginia will win, and so will Mississippi State, and so will Washington, and all that. But like never when it matters. That's who I compared him to today at work. I was thinking about Huggy.
Yeah. I mean, I would also argue too that them going to the Big 12 probably wasn't the best move.
That's a fair point.
Like they were 7-11 in conference, and they made the tournament. Like I feel like as a rule of thumb, if you're under 500 in conference play, you probably shouldn't be in the NCAA tournament, even if your overall record is good enough. Like I that's something that just like is not cool with me, I think.
It's a fair point.
But I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot of like leeway given to Huggy simply for the fact that like there were some very good West Virginia teams he had, especially in like the early, like I want to say late 2000s, early 2010s that like we're going to the Elite Eight and stuff.
The Bears signed Dante Foreman to a 1-year deal.
They need offensive weapons everywhere possible.
I
Do you
guess.
just have JPA football like sending you a bunch of updates like throughout the show?
JPA football, screw them. No. Well, always I have post notifications turned on for Ari and Adam Schefter. I don't turn them on for Rap because he sends out a lot of feelers more than anything. But I also have Pro Football Chase's Instagram notifications turned on because sometimes they beat everyone. Like Drew Lock got a 1-year deal. Robert Tonyan signed for the Bears. That's where I got the Slay information. Honestly, you know why I started doing this, Greg? Full transparency.
Go ahead.
I got mad because, one, it has to do with Dre, too. But two, I got mad because there were guys in a league that Dre and I are in that would get the news, go pick up whoever it was, and just be like, oh, I found out before you. So what I did was I would turn on post notifications for everyone that broke the news, go pick up the guy, then go to the group chat, say, oh, look, Deontay Foreman got sent to the Bears. Everyone would then scramble because I beat their normal route. And then it started getting to a place where Dre now, and he probably won't admit it, he tries to beat me in our Dynasty group chat with news. It's just never the good news. Like, it's never the juicy story. It's never, like, the guy. He'll be like, oh, Steelers signed Holcomb. I'm like, yeah, that's cool. You know, David Montgomery. David Montgomery's going to the Lions. So, and it's so funny.
It's like he wants to get in on the action, but he's not reading the room that this is the fantasy one. You know?
See,
like
look. He just sent the Dante Foreman tweet to the group chat. Like literally while we're doing this. It's and then this is the Instagram one just sent the notification. I love it all. I think it's super funny, but if I genuinely wanted to, it would not take that much to beat Dre at every angle. It gives me so much joy to beat him like that.
Did you ever discover what the previous like source that all of your other cohorts in your Dynasty League were using, just out of curiosity?
They were just ESPN push notifications. So genuinely, they would sit here and wait. Toxic CEO vibes. Fuck you, Sid. Kind of, actually. No. They would get the ESPN notification, or they'd be watching ESPN and it happened. So I went straight to the sources. I said, well, okay, who finds out? Which is how I found my sports update, Ari Meirov, who is the best news reporter in the industry. He beat Schefter on some stuff. Pro Football Focus, I think, picked him up or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, back to March, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
When you're picking between two teams that you don't know anything about, how do you decide which one you're going with?
Probably name identity goes into it.
Fair.
If I know, I will probably occasionally like try to see who their best player is to try to get an understanding of like what they do, what they're known for,
I think that's fair.
or something like that. So I would say it's more so like, and I feel bad for saying this, but it is probably brand identity is like the top one. And then after that, it's like best player that I know. That's probably the way that I would lean towards it. Why? Do you have a different MO in this case?
Kind of.
Okay.
For me, it goes the route of, okay, so A, have I seen them play, watch them play? Like, if I'm no, I look at the numbers, the seeding,
Okay.
because there's a lot of pre-built data and history there, and it's probably not the best thing to do. I
also occasionally look at historical trends too.
Yes.
So like for instance, like, and this is one of the few times that like I'm gonna blame Josh for this one. Like Josh putting in my head about San Diego State being, oh hi Bean. But here's the thing: Josh putting stuff in my head about San Diego State being terrible made me want to pick Charleston, and to a degree he was right because I recall San Diego State doing terrible in some. So
Fair.
That's why I went that route. But yeah, I would also say like if I know like a conference like typically like does bad, like Davis is famous for always doing don't trust the Big 12, even though that's kind of been proven not true to a degree.
Yeah.
But that's my logic, yeah.
Just like jumped out of my arms. Foreman should have stayed in Houston. Houston missed him. He was solid. Agreed, but he actually had a better time in Carolina last year. I thought he was going to stay there until they signed Sanders, so the run with Chuba and Sanders. Yeah, no, I look at the numbers, and then I look at, do I trust the team? So, like, the Fordham one today, I was just like, I think Virginia's frauds. In my brackets, I took Virginia because the 4 and 13. I don't know. I just didn't like Virginia at all, so that's where I was at with it.
Well, Virginia's almost the same team every single year. They can't score, but they're very good defensively. That's kind of like that. That's the MO of teams that, like, make me nervous because they're the ones that like if their MO is defense, odds are they don't have a guy that can take over a game. So and that's all March is. You know, March is usually like the stories of guys that like will their team to wins, and if you're not consistently scoring and you don't have a history of it, you're kind of fucked to a degree.
Yeah, this. So just to read another one, Ari Meirov tweeted the Bears offseason signings, and it shows the numbers. I won't. Tremaine Edmonds and TJ Edwards at linebacker. Guard Nate Davis. Traded number 1 pick for number 9, 61, and DJ Moore and a bunch of others. Deontay Foreman, Robert Tonyan, PJ Walker, Travis Homer, Andrew Billings. Oh, man. Wow. They're going to be fun in Madden. They're going to be fun in Madden.
I was going to say, is it weird to think that they should have done more with the amount of cap space that they have?
They should have done better. I don't know if more is correct because they got DJ Moore, but I think that the Edmonds deal and the Edwards deal were great. I think they should have snuck in a little more secondary help. I think that they should have. If I was them, I would have dropped a brink truck on Darius Slay. But he was staying at home. I get that.
Right.
Also, though, the other side of it is they didn't it wasn't terrible, but we'll see. Real quick, NBA says, Greg, I'm with you. Bob Huggins was very good in a high-octane college program a couple years ago. Why couldn't they get more recruits? Because it's fucking West Virginia. Nobody wants to go to West Virginia.
I would argue West Virginia is not going to be one of those schools that gets like one and done guys. Like West Virginia is very much one of those schools that like relies on the seniority and like building a team slow and steady and
Take
stuff to
me
get
home, country roads. You're supposed to talk and I'll sing in the background.
Damn hillbillies. No, I'm sorry. Like when I hear that, I just want to get so mad because fuck West Virginia. I hate them. I hate their fans.
My parents are watching.
Sorry, I get
West
mad.
Virginia.
West Virginia fans are a bunch of jerks.
My mama. That's
and
Carolina
they drive
fans.
Me
Take
nuts.
me home.
Just saying.
It's because Pitt
Thank
sucks.
God.
Country road. When does Pitt play, Greg?
They play tomorrow.
Nice.
Yep. 3:10 on True TV that I do not have. But
I do. I stole Sid's DirecTV.
But found a loophole that NCAA.com apparently lets you get like 3 hours of
commercial-free football.
Commercial-free. And the commercial does not count towards the 3 hours. So I'm probably going to I'll use that tomorrow. That's how I watched the game on Wednesday, actually, was NCAA.
Nice.
Or Tuesday, whatever.
Let's transition here, NBA. We'll get to that question when we get to football. Just remind me, Ja Morant suspended 8 games. For anybody that doesn't know, Ja Morant was seen pointing a red dot scope out of a car at people leaving a game a couple months ago. Recently had pictures of him at a strip club with money on the floor, and then a video on Instagram of him waving a pistol around in the club. The real kind of issue came if he brought it on team premises or team plane, because that in itself is a 50-game suspension, Greg. And all of that comes off the heels of a players-only meeting that Steven Adams made the team have. So he had the meeting. Ja then went to the club. Dylan Brooks is a giant piece of shit. Have we absolutely seen the end of the Memphis Grizzlies as they are?
I can't say that just yet because the Grizzlies are still extremely young, but it is also something to be said that like when you're extremely young and you don't have a veteran presence, this is probably
or you
what
don't
ends up
listen
happening.
to your veteran presence in Steve Adams, or
True.
you scare your veteran presence away like Andre Iguodala.
Yeah, that'll do it. I didn't realize that Ja was the one that was
NBA.
shooting the red laser pointer. I thought
So
it
he was
like one
in
of his
the
boys
car, but the
Okay.
point is,
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, the security guy at wherever they were, who was like former FBI or something, like thought it was like a rifle or something, and like legit was
nobody,
freaked.
yeah,
So
nobody knows.
yeah. So I get it. And there's also like not just that too, but like Ja Morant, there was like some weird story about him like punking a 17-year-old or something like in the off season. I guess. Yeah, that part I was thrown off when I heard
NBA
that.
says Dylan Brooks is my guy, alley guy. Here's what I think about Dylan Brooks. Dylan Brooks at Oregon wanted to be Draymond, which is the funny thing. For me, Dylan Brooks is a great number 2.
Yes.
If he wasn't like all of this extracurricular, and I don't use that. I don't like that term, Greg. I don't like to say that shit because you're in a sport and you're heated and it is what it is. It's every game with this guy. It's not even like Draymond I hated, but at least for Draymond, it felt like he accepted the character and wasn't that guy. Dylan Brooks just feels annoying as all fuck.
Well, here's the thing. First off, I loved Draymond when he was at Michigan State. So, like, the fact that he's the same player that I saw in college is pretty cool in the NBA, and he translated so well. I mean, massively undersized center should not be doing that well, but that's the NBA today. Dylan Brooks is also a guy that, like, arguably had the talent to be a lottery guy, but at Oregon, I don't remember if he got hurt or if he just
he accepted a role of Draymond Green-esque stuff is what I saw, but I think it was injuries too.
Yeah, he really like underachieved to that degree if that was the case, but he's got the talent. And I thought when the Grizzlies got him, like I believe they drafted him too, or like he was like traded around and stuff, but like I still thought it was kind of a sneaky pickup for him, but I don't mind having someone who plays the Draymond Green-esque role of the agitator and someone who kind of like, you know, will rally the team that they build around you and stuff like that, but I think there's still levels to it. And I can at least appreciate Draymond for kind of putting him in his place. First off, with the rivalry comment I loved. I thought that was great. but I also would imagine too that like if Dylan Brooks is going to be a pest and be one of those guys like, and first off, like I hope he doesn't end up being like a Lance Stevenson-esque pest that like has one good moment and then after that like kind of fades into the background or something like that. I need to see him. I need to see them produce in the playoffs before I'm ready to like give him attention to that.
Were you comfortable with Jaws' suspension? 8 without pay, so.
Yeah. The 8 without pay, I'm okay with. The problem is that I don't appreciate the fact that like the last thing we hear from him is that he checks into a facility at Florida and then is out almost just as quickly as he went in. That's something I don't get. You know, like if he had a problem, if he had like issues he had to work on and stuff like that, I feel like that's a very disingenuous way to kind of go about it, if that makes sense. Like that's not really proving that you're putting effort into something. That's basically
Did he left the counseling program or?
Yeah, I believe he did. Yeah, because I think him and Jalen Rose had an interview yesterday and stuff, and he was out of the facility after only being there for like
well, to be fair, we don't. I guess in that sense, then we don't know what it could be an outpatient thing where he comes and goes for the counseling, or it could be an at-home thing and he's got to check in and meet his doctors.
If that's the case, then I will gladly like retract that if that comes up in the situation. But I don't know. Like to me, it kind of feels like he's trying to save face to make himself look a little better than the situation that he's doing. But that seems very disingenuous of him to do. So, having said that, though, I think the 8 games without pay is fair for what they know right now. I'm curious if there could be maybe something future that comes down the line if more allegations start coming up. Because this is just. Yep. I'm curious if the 8-game suspension is more so based on just what is known right now, if this was even a part of the waving the gun around, because I think the waving the gun around part was more so based on the fact that he's an NBA employee, that he's not an employee, I'm sorry, that like he's an NBA player with a dangerous weapon that was off team premises. They don't know if it was with him on team premises or not, so that's all they can do. But if it turns out more stuff comes out the back, then I can revert back to suspending him longer, if that's the case.
Yeah, for me in the suspension, it comes down to one thing. Will he change? Because if he won't, why suspend him? If he won't and the team will let him do it, why suspend him? If he will change, I think the suspension should be 20 games. And the point of it is, maybe 20 is way too much, and I get that, and it's heat of the playoffs, and the NBA do take account for the fact that he's a massive superstar. Right. My problem with it all, Greg, is it's a tough thing because I don't think, and this is something commonly done for anybody that is mainly black and in the NBA, if there's a sniff that they were in some kind of street gang, all the buzzwords, activity before his draft stock, somebody would have sniffed it out. So I'm not saying this isn't him. It feels like something where he goes, all right, well, I'm safe in life, so I can do whatever I want more than I could be. Like Allen Iverson, for example, Greg, we know what happened to him at the bowling alley. We know all of the stuff that really came with who he was. Yeah, Bueno sent the clip where he goes, it wasn't my gun. My thing with Ja is we didn't hear a sniff of this until Memphis. And I 100% wasn't poking around. I don't fucking know Ja Morant. I don't know anything about his life.
Right.
The point is, though, we did know that Allen Iverson was in some shit. We know these players that come out and have things against them or watch out, he runs with a bad crew. It seems like this all just happened. I don't know.
I don't remember any stories like that ever coming out like during the draft and stuff like that.
Especially for a guy at a small school who was going up against Zion Williamson for the number 1 overall. Like, they would have dug something up.
I mean, the most I heard about Ja Morant coming out of college or going into the draft was literally stuff about his dad. That's it.
Yes.
And listen, like his dad's a character. Don't get me wrong about that. Like no, not a bad way. He's just a character to that degree. But yeah, I'm curious how much of it is just based on the fact that he's young, he has money, he can he has like this aura of invincibility about him, which I think anyone
Yes.
his age probably has that to go with. But I think that you got to have some sort of optics with regards to it, though. You're on a winning team. You were an MVP contender until probably halfway through the season when some of this stuff started going down.
Yep.
You just got a Nike deal. You just got a Powerade campaign that was going to be built entirely around you, and now all of this is starting to come crashing down on him. So I would truly, truly hope that this whole logic is just based on the fact that he just picks the worst people to hang out with.
Yeah.
You know, like that's not a bad thing necessarily. It's a character flaw. It's like Trent Richardson when he said that like he had guys that were like using up all of his money and stuff when he was in the NFL and stuff, and he realized that he hung out with the wrong crowd. You know, it happens.
Yeah. Some of the things here. So I'm looking through a little thread. One of the things, John Morant, there was a mall incident. Confronted by the director of mall security, Morant and his friends refused the security guard's demands to leave the parking lot. Police arrived in a verbal confrontation, escalated, the report says, until someone in the group allegedly pushed the security director in the head. As the group were leaving the premises, John Morant said, "Let me find out what time he gets off," police wrote in the report. The guard wanted to file a report, police wrote, because he felt threatened by the statement from John Morant, and he had been assaulted by the person who had pushed him. The disturbing parties left the scene, blah, blah, blah. So the angle that a lot of these tweets are going are, John Morant had a basketball court built in his backyard when he was a kid with a two-parent household, roof over his head his entire childhood, grew up in a town with less crime rate than most towns in Arkansas. Why in the world is he doing this type of thing? You're a millionaire. I think the easy thing here is for me to go, well, what an idiot. Ooh, what a moron. You grew up with two parents. How hard can it be? The hard thing is to look at a situation and go, all right, you were drafted to Memphis. You're from South Carolina. That's not terribly far for your friends to get there. You're probably taking care of your friends, and you probably do think you're fucking untouchable.
Yeah.
So I do think Ja will learn from this. I think he's, from every account we've seen, in a stand-up person other than the mall incident, the kid incident, the gun incident, tweeting it's free to feel how hollow points feel. For me, it just, I don't know. Des Bryant said it best, Greg, where Des said in a tweet, and just again, Bueno said, "What's worse, Jaw waving a gun or Jalen Carter racing and killing someone and just getting community service?" Well, that's
another story that we'll get into.
I guess my vote would be Deshaun Watson fucking being a predator. So the thing about Jaw here, though, incidents, man, just little incidents, and it's crazy to me. I literally can't get it.
And here's the part that's throwing me off too. I feel like it's all within a year.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Why is it? Yeah, that's the part I don't get. Like, how is it that in the years that he's been in Memphis, like, you don't hear a peep out of this, but then actually, this kind of happens after he signs his contract. When you think about it, he gets his big money deal, which he deserved for the record. And then all of a sudden you start hearing about these issues and these problems and stuff. And I wonder if it is part of this idea that he believes that because he has the bag, this is his first big contract, which in the NBA, you're probably going to get more than one big contract if you play your cards right. His first big contract, he wants to let loose and have fun and stuff like that. And now all these problems are starting to occur. But man, if all of this is starting to occur within a year and they're just piling up and stuff, you got to recognize that you got to get your shit together before this gets worse, because you're going to get labeled pretty quickly in the NBA, and not just in the NBA, but in the public eye if this continues going
especially
forward,
in today. It's 2023 and
right.
You just can't do some of the shit.
You can't get away with some of the stuff. And think about this. Could you imagine if like all this was, if we had social media around the time Allen Iverson was doing what he was doing? It'd be the awful.
So
like some of the shit that we would find out.
What I was saying before, one of the Buenos, I forgot it. Des Bryant said, he was like, Ja, none of your friends are talented. You're the talented one. He said, you need to be either leading them, and if they can't be led, you need new friends. And I think that conversation happens with probably 80% of people that make it to these leagues, where they have to go, my friends helped me get here. Do I continue to help them, or are they going to get me in trouble? I mean, it's a popular storyline through humanity. So I don't know, man. I think it's an interesting storyline. I think it's a fun, compelling team. I hate that I'm talking about this team for anything more than being a young playoff contender because they were so much fun last year. I like Ja. I think Ja's, from all I've seen, hopefully we'll learn from this, so we'll see.
Yeah, and then not to mention, like, yeah, this is a small market team that is built with a lot of young guys that have, for the most part, aside from that one incredible year where they beat the Spurs in the first round, Memphis Grizzlies have been an afterthought in the NBA. So, like, getting all these young guys coming up and stuff, and they're being contenders now, this is huge for the NBA. They need to, like, get their shit together to make sure that they can keep this sustainable and last, and it starts with Ja Morant. And here's the thing too, when you brought up the whole like rookie conversation with your friends and stuff, like Herm Edwards brings it up all the time. Like that's why they bring him to the rookie symposium. And they tell him, he talks about like, you know, you have all these guys that are attached to you. You have like all of a sudden you make money, and then friends, cousins, relatives you don't know coming out of the woodwork and try to leech off you and stuff. And you have to learn to say no. It's not a bad thing. It's just learning. It's just learning that you are making the money. You have to be the one responsible for it.
Let's move over. Talk about general NBA for about 10 minutes, Greg, and then I want to spend 15 minutes on the NFL and then get into our mock because I anticipate that being a while. General NBA, I think the Lakers are going to be on the outside looking in come playoff time.
Are we talking like outside the top 10, or are we talking like outside, like not winning the play-in?
It's a great question, and I'm going to go with not even in the play-in.
Wow. I mean, I understand they lost to the Rockets last night, bud, but like it is so like don't jump off a bridge. Like they've been playing pretty well when they
but it was the Rocket. No. So let's look right now. The Lakers are in 10th. They're currently a game ahead of the Jazz and the Pelicans.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I'm not saying I love the Jazz or the Pelicans, Greg. I genuinely, I'm excited to have D'Angelo Russell back.
Yes.
The new look Lakers is fun. It's exciting. It's energized. I kind of just want this season to be over and come back next year. Unless there's a chance LeBron comes back in the playoffs, but it didn't feel pretty good with his injury. Like this feels like the most significant LeBron injury since he got a muscle cramp against the Spurs.
Forgot about that.
Which muscle cramps do hurt, but
yeah, you would know right now. That's true.
Gout is not a muscle cramp, you curmudgeon.
You're the one that's in pain right now, currently, technically.
Yeah, gout's real. A muscle cramp.
I understand.
Just suck.
Yes, it's why it's called the King's disease.
Yeah, baby.
Jagoff.
What's up?
Yeah, whatever. I have a little more faith than you in that case because I look at the other teams and the Pelicans aren't going anywhere without Zion, which is unfortunate. The Jazz are a great story. They're ahead of where they should be. They're playing like a team. But I'm telling you, I think you got one bad loss in you yesterday that's like clouding your judgment because since the Lakers got all these trades in, since the All-Star break, they've been playing great.
Okay, so you think they win the play-in game then? That would be great to me.
It'll be the 9-10 game, so they'll have to play. They'll have 2 play-in games.
Yes, okay, but you think they qualify for the playoffs?
I think they qualify for the play-in
for the actual playoffs. They win the play-in games.
So who would they play if it's the 9-10 matchup right now?
Currently, right now, if it's 9-10, they would play the Thunder.
I think they could beat the Thunder. Yes, I think they could beat the Thunder. Shai's having a great year, and that
what is it? 9-10, 8-11, or 9-10?
It's 7-8, 9-10. So 7-8 play each other. The loser of that game plays the winner. Right. Loser of that game plays the winner of 9-10.
So then they would probably play the Timberwolves because I like the Mavericks more than the Timberwolves right now. Yeah. And so the Lakers would have to beat, in theory, the Thunder and the Timberwolves. Or
talk about how great it would be if the Mavs and the Lakers have to play each other for the last.
It would be.
Spot. That'd be incredible.
It's also very scary to think that the Warriors are just 1 game ahead of the 7 and 8 seeds and 2 games ahead of the 9 and 10 seeds.
I'm telling you, that's what's crazy about the damn West is like it's just a fucking mess. When it comes
NBA
to
said AD did not play last night.
Yeah, I told you that.
Yeah.
The reason they lost is because AD didn't play.
Yeah. Okay. That's what. Sorry, I thought he was correcting you, and I was like, oh shit, I thought I heard that AD didn't play. Yeah. We're fine, NBA. I'm just it sucks. I want to wear a Laker jersey and be proud. I'm wearing Man United gear again though, so that's cool.
Yeah, I mean they're probably going to finish top 4 this year, so can't complain about that. Just saying.
Who are we?
Although,
Arsenal?
yeah, Arsenal's going to win the league this year, which is mind-blowing to me compared to some of the shit they were dealing with last year, which is impressive. Yeah, then Newcastle all of a sudden is good. When did that happen?
Newcastle's crazy.
Yeah. No, the tempting idea of Kyrie and Luka versus LeBron and AD for the last spot in the West to end up playing the Nuggets is so tempting for me. I'm like picturing it now.
Greg, are you going to get relegated?
Yeah, there's a very good chance. We got game yesterday against Brentford was just brutal.
Yeah,
Absolutely
shout out
brutal.
Brighton and Brentford 7-8, and looking at this, Nottingham Forest at 14. Phew.
Yeah, I've already been. We play Tottenham this weekend, so that'll be fun, dude. Blows my damn mind. Southampton, before they fired their second manager, got a striker by the name of Paul Onuachu. He's 6'8". 6'8".
It's an inch shorter than Bueno.
Plays like 5'9". He is the Chase Claypool of Premier League football. It is
so he's a bum.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I'm watching him in the game yesterday. He doesn't even go up for the ball to try to head it in. You would think when you're tall enough, you can literally leap over dudes when you are trying to make a play on something. No. Motherfucker just stands in the box and doesn't even try to use anything to help with that. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. So, yeah, more than likely Southampton's getting relegated, and I'm going to have to be a Brentford fan next year because I promised rap and while I was wine drunk. So,
yeah, that ain't happening. Let's move over to general NFL free agency, Greg. I have a bunch of names on here. Some work came through. I got Lamar, Baker, Fletcher Cox, Jamal Williams, Juju Smith-Schuster, David Montgomery, James Robinson, Aaron Rodgers, Darius Slay, Miles Sanders, Ezekiel Elliott. So many people moving to other teams. What so far, Greg? If you can point to one signing in one team, which one can you point to and be like, yeah, that one is amazing, makes all the sense in the world?
Ooh. God, you know what? I'm not 100% sure, actually, because first off, what I want to say, I'm impressed by the fact there hasn't been a lot of stupid deals.
Okay. No Christian Kirks is what you're getting at?
Yeah, no Christian Kirks. Nothing like resetting the market necessarily. Nothing like that just like people are looking at like, what the fuck?
Well, I also don't think there's any players that could reset the market in this one, except for Lamar, who should, but...
No, but Christian Kirk shouldn't have reset the market either, and that essentially just destroyed the receiver market forever.
Killed the Titans, which I love.
Killed the Titans. That's fair.
For AJ Brown's sake, so I wear that.
I'm not sure. I can't really point to the exact one in particular. I think a few off the top of my head. Orlando Brown going to the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm surprised by how much he got because I think
we were courting him.
But the thing that I kind of find interesting is that I think the Bengals obviously just need offensive linemen in general because they can't, for some reason, even when they spend a lot of money on it, they're fine with it. And Brown was the best player available. But a lot of stuff that I've seen online, like from Chiefs stuff, has mostly been like he was overrated. He didn't deserve that much money and stuff like that. And there's kind of precedent because even if you remember coming out, like he was a good right tackle in Baltimore. Like his whole shtick was like he was overweight. He wasn't athletic enough and stuff. And I mean, Baltimore let him go. Baltimore traded him.
Well, so they had Ronnie Stanley. And
they
moved him, one, so they wouldn't have to pay him, but two, because they just had other tackle talent.
That's fair, but it's just, I don't know. Like that contract is interesting to me because clearly and also in fact with the Chiefs as well. The Chiefs had depth at their tackles as well, so that's why they could have afforded to let it go. But no, I just find fascinating that the Bengals spent a shit ton of money for him.
Got to protect your toy.
Yeah. Tremaine Edmonds, I'm not surprised, got big money. I'm surprised he went to the Bears, though. I wasn't expecting that.
I'm surprised that a team that let Roquan Smith go wanted a linebacker.
Yeah, Roquan Smith's a better linebacker, but I think I think the whole allure with Tremaine Edmonds is the fact that like he's so young.
He's still like
and
22.
He's 22. He's been in the Pro Bowl 2 out of 4 years, so like there's something there. It's just I think spending that much money on him because I think he got a lot of money too.
He's 24, but he's young as all hell.
Yeah, he got like 80. I think he got like an 80 mil contract, not guaranteed, obviously, but like he got a big contract though.
Here, wait, it was in that tweet by Ari. He signed a 4-year, $72 million deal.
72, okay.
Which is basically 80 when it all, My signing, Greg. So NBA says Hargrave to the 49ers. We should have went after him. I would have loved to return that. Genuinely, my signing that I think was an absolute banger, Baker Mayfield to the Bucs. For 2 reasons.
Okay.
One, the Baltimore Ravens have been kicking the tires on Baker and Jacoby Brissett in the off chance that Lamar doesn't play and Huntley gets signed somewhere else. He's on that weird tag where if someone offers them, the Ravens can't match.
Right.
But 2, that division is extremely winnable.
It is.
Derek Carr to the Saints with Jamal Williams. I thought Jamal Williams was a great signing there. The Falcons are basically admitting they're rolling with Desmond Ridder, which is crazy. Mm-hmm. And the Panthers move up to number 1 pick, so they will take a rookie quarterback. That division for the Bucs have a Super Bowl win now team. I'm not saying Baker Mayfield is the complete solution, but he is one of the better free agent quarterbacks right now that you can kick the tires on. If he messes up, you go with Trask. If Trask messes up, you draft a quarterback next year with your shitty record. I thought it was a really good move.
And the quarterback class next year, I think, is going to be better. But also, I also look at the Bucs as well. I think they're bringing back Levante David.
Yep.
Jamel Dean, I don't think he's re-signed.
He resigned.
He resigned? Okay, so you got Jamel Dean back.
But...
I think the only 2 guys that you lost Leonard Fournette, which isn't necessarily that bad because I think running back depth was okay for them, and they had to trade Shaq Mason to make it work cap-wise. But the Saints also lost like 3 of their starters on their defensive line because of the money that they had to give Derek Carr. So that's going to hurt them really bad.
Yeah.
Atlanta, I completely forgot about this, but Atlanta got Jesse Bates to play in their secondary, which is a sneaky, very
especially
good signing,
with him and Terrell. That's going to be great. Deal signed a 4-year, $52 million deal. Or Dean, excuse me, Jamal.
Okay. Yeah, so that's a solid deal for him in that case. And then, the Panthers, I would say, I mean, they got the number 1 pick, so there's going to be some.
Did you like that trade? The first for the 9th, the 61st, a first next year, a second in 2025, and DJ Moore.
I love it for the Bears. Loved it for well. Let me rephrase. I thought going from 1 to 9 was a bit much.
Really?
I thought it was a big drop for them.
For the Bears.
For the Bears, yeah. But they're getting a first next year. They recoup a 2nd-round pick, and they finally got a number 1 receiver who you love. For the record, you love DJ Moore. So
Dark.
I think as a whole, I think it was a good deal for the Bears. I'm surprised how big of a drop they did it in the first round for it, but then I still think they can get some good talent there. Like especially if they get offensive line help, they should be able to have their pick of the litter.
So you look at 4 quarterbacks go in the top 10, right? And they're at 9. So that means that the other players that would go, Jalen Carter, Will Anderson, maybe Jalen. I would say so. So right there, you're looking at 6, right?
Yeah.
And you're at 9. So even if Paris and Broderick Jones go, you're sitting there looking, worst case scenario, we get Peter Skoronski for this line. Like out of all the potential players they could want, they're looking at this scenario and they're like, as long as 4 quarterbacks go, like we're very happy.
Yeah. So you're basically taking like a lot of the stuff that you're not even going to worry about. Hell, if you wanted, you can take one of the best corners in this class and you'll be happy to a degree on that one. Yeah. Or you can even maybe go Tyree Wilson if you want to get pass rush for your team. Like there's plenty of options right there. For the Panthers, I get going up to get your guy, and I get the logic of wanting to be in control of the draft, but I also believe that they probably could have traded up for a lesser package at the draft and then still gotten the quarterback they probably wanted.
Maybe, but why risk it?
It's fair. I'm still trying to figure out what quarterback they are going to get, though, because like I've said numerous times over and over again, I hate this quarterback class because I have no clue which one is the surefire best, because every one of them has a trait that I like, and every one of them has a trait that I don't like. So
yeah, Dre said he thinks it's Stroud. I put Richardson in my recent mock because my logic. So let's look at the quarterbacks real quick. Aaron Rodgers go to the Bucks. He goes Super Bowl. Period. Maybe.
Yeah, with that talent, yeah, it's possible.
Here's where I'm at with these quarterbacks. Will Levis, massive arm, massive frame, could be the prototypical Josh Allen quarterback. Bryce Young, best quarterback in the class, super skinny and small, great brain. CJ Stroud, great in the pocket, flashes of greatness against Georgia, super accurate. Anthony Richardson, most physically gifted quarterback we may have ever seen. Tim, Vic, Newton, Lamar. My downsides with them all. Levis, lot of fine-tuning that's needed, not ready to start. Young, way too small, way too gifted at Alabama with everyone, just not a big fan. Moving over to Stroud. The tape where he's bad, he's the fourth quarterback in those four. The tape where he's good, he's number one. Which one you get? Anthony Richardson. If you're not in the proper place and mindset to train a guy like Anthony Richardson and coach him, it's going to be a terrible time. Bryce Young going to be Kyler without the Call of Duty problem, Bueno said. Sid said Steelers redraft Kenny Pickett because he's that good. It's fair. Yeah, these quarterbacks are just crazy, man. And I get why Stroud. The reason I want Richardson, Greg, is because with the Colts, you don't make that type of move unless you're in love with a guy. And for me, pocket passing at the combine doesn't make me in love with a guy. Anthony Richardson's numbers make me in love with a guy. That was all.
Yeah, and by the way, for the record, like that Kyler Murray, like Young thing, they're two completely different quarterbacks. Young is way more of a pocket passing type quarterback. Kyler Murray's the guy that like dances around and tries to make a play happen. Not to say Young can't do that, but that's not something he doesn't. That's not his game. So completely different. But I think if you are taking Anthony Richardson number one, you need like everything just completely right for this to make this work. And then strangely enough, I did not realize this too. I didn't realize Josh McCown is their quarterback coach, which is something that I think is kind of fun. Which I think is awesome, because if you're going to have someone train a quarterback, you might as well have it be someone who's been in the league for so long and
who the Texans were trying to make their head coach.
Yeah, so I think there's some validity to that. And also I think Frank Reich never was able to have his quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
See how this works out for him if that's the
That was
case,
another thing, is Reich making Richardson a quarterback seems very plausible.
Yeah, and but here's the other thing too, man. Man, it is hard to watch him sometimes when he's like being asked to throw.
Yeah.
It's not good. It's not good at all. Even at the combine, it was not good. And I am one that says there's only so much that you can do at the combine to like wow people or like that can like really improve your stock and stuff. But man, thank God Anthony Richardson is just a great athlete, because if you were just going off of the throwing, oof, it ain't pretty.
Who not pretty. I have my comp. Bueno says, Greg, who do you compare Bryce's game to?
He's kind of like Drew Brees to me.
Oh, you fucker.
What?
That was mine.
It seemed obvious. Yeah. Undersized guy, but yet
slinger.
Given the right situation, can be an extremely accurate passer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he plays like him on tape. But Brees was also someone that was very competitive, very hungry when he was a quarterback.
Very vocal.
So he had very vocal, which Bryce does not strike me as that at all. And also, Brees had the great relationship with Sean Payton to build an offense that worked well for him.
Yes.
Young is in that boat that like you cannot. That's something about these quarterbacks. These quarterbacks maybe Stroud and Levis, depending on certain factors, but like none of these quarterbacks are guys that can like fit in every situation.
No.
You need to like build it around you to make it work properly, like Lamar Jackson, like Kyler Murray and stuff like that. Not saying it's a bad thing. It's just, it's the reality of it that you have to make it work.
If I was picking one of these quarterbacks to fit into any system, it would be CJ Stroud. Then Will Levis, probably. Then Bryce, then Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, I would maybe lean towards Levis slightly in that case, just for the fact that, like, I think in terms of the physical traits and measurements and the fact that I know what he is already as a quarterback, I think Will Levis is the closest to a finished product right now.
Really?
I think. Just based on the measurables, based on the physical traits. And
I'd say Bryce because he's finished growing.
I would say Levis is probably the prototypical guy that every coach would want as a quarterback, but that's where I'm leaning towards. I don't think you have to do too much with Levis to make him succeed.
Yeah, agreed. All right, Greg, let's talk real quick. Speaking of noodle arms, when's Elsass doing the football throw? Yeah, what the fuck? He said he was going to do that last week.
Should we remind him to? Do we have to remind him to do it while he's in Georgia? Make him like find a football field and then see if he'll throw?
I'm tweeting at him.
Yeah. Elsass, while you're in Georgia getting wasted with your family, please make sure to record a video of you throwing a football to see how far you can throw.
A great question was just asked on 2 beers deep. When is Elsass going to throw a football? The world may never know.
I've never seen Josh throw anything. Have you?
Dude, Sid and I were talking about that last week. Hear me out.
Okay.
He can't throw a football. What do you say, 50? 45?
50,
yeah, dude, it just... Dude, Greg, he can't. A baseball, a potato, and a football all on first bounce. There's no chance. Like, there's literally no chance. I don't care. Because you know why? I don't even know if I could punt it. 45 was the bet. I know that I could punt it 50 yards, 45 yards. I know for a fact I can punt farther than I can throw. And I know for a fact that when you get on a football field, a yard looks a lot further than it does in my kitchen.
That's true. That's actually something I don't think about enough. Like, you watch it on TV and you think, oh, a yard's not that far. A yard is 3 feet.
Bro, Peyton Manning could barely throw 30 yards. And it did not look far. And at one point I was like, oh, yeah, that was 30 yards. Like, shit, that was really far.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you don't realize it until you kind of connect the dots on that one. But, yeah, I've never seen Josh throw in anything.
We never will.
So I don't know how this is going to go over.
Whatever. Let's talk about the Steelers signing situation. Notable signings we made. So we have Holcomb there in the middle of the field. Greg, any thoughts there? I thought it was a great signing at linebacker. They cut Miles Jack, which is fine.
Yes.
Thoughts on the new middle linebacker?
Yeah, not just Cole Holcomb too, but Ellendon Roberts as well from Miami that they got as well. So they essentially replaced both their starters at middle linebacker,
which we needed to do.
Yeah, you know what was damning? I didn't realize this until I think it was, I don't know if it was Alex or if it was the Steelers Depot Twitter account in general, but they posted about how like the numbers for the middle linebackers this year were like atrocious. Like I think they had zero sacks, 0 forced fumbles, 0 fumble recoveries, 0 interceptions. They did not make a turn. Well, they might have had a sack, I think now, but whatever. But they made no turnover worthy plays, which for a defense that relies on athleticism, and especially for the fact too, in terms of takeaways this year, we had a damn good year. Like, our secondary played great this year in terms of takeaways, and our line as well.
Ogunjobi coming back is a massive add, so I'm there with you.
Yes, huge. But the middle linebackers, I think I didn't realize just how negatively impacted we were from that play. And I also appreciate too, they're different molds to what we were typically getting. which I'm curious to see how that
Bro,
works.
Holcomb
because,
is a 3-down linebacker.
yes,
He's exactly what we thought we got at Devin Bush.
yes. But here's the other thing that I'm kind of intrigued by as well. They're not really sideline to sideline guys.
No.
That's another thing that I'm curious about. If that's going to be something they maybe look towards in the draft, or if that's a new philosophy with regards to inside linebackers. They're not going to go for guys that, because here's the thing, we might never see anything close to Ryan Shazier ever again. Like, Ryan Shazier did everything you could possibly do as a middle linebacker down the field, blitz, dropped into coverage, and would excel in it because he was just a physical freak. So the fact now that we kind of have shifted our middle linebacking focus to, instead of just being coverage, you're now being guys that are like, will attack at the line of scrimmage and stuff. I'm fascinated to see if that's something that they maybe have changed their philosophy on, because if that's the case, Jack Campbell becomes way more exciting as a draft prospect. So just saying on that
Still love me some Drew Sanders. Thoughts on Patrick Peterson, and then we'll get into this mock, because hear me out. It was a conversation in our one group chat. We played a lot more man coverage than I anticipated last year when I looked at the stats.
Yeah, because I don't think that was their MO for the longest time either. Like, they were very much a
nickel zone with Hilton, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, I don't know if it's a new... I'm curious if, like, that was a philosophy that they had to do because of the personnel that they were working with.
I agree.
Maybe much for the fact... maybe like the line not having TJ Watt play to factor into it. Maybe the linebackers not being like good enough in coverage had to play a factor into it and whatnot.
That's a fair point too, Greg.
But I also, in fairness too, I think NFL Next Gen Stats even point out that like the times that Patrick Peterson was lined up in man coverage, like his stats were still excellent. So I think and I knew I had a feeling you were going to be excited about this because you love Patrick Peterson. So the fact that he's on the Steelers team right there, I think is something that is cool for you.
Yeah, I think he's older than he is. He's old as dirt, but he's still our best corner right now, maybe.
Yeah, he puts in work, man. It sucks that we lost Cam Sutton because it's one of those things that when a draft and develop a guy, you want to sign him and stuff, but listen, a guy who's probably going to be a Hall of Famer, it's not like a Joe Hayden move because Joe Hayden was still somewhat in his prime when we got him, but it's not like Patrick Peterson is, done. Like, he's still got maybe a year or two left on his body before he's ready to hang up. And I do find this notion that they are probably going to have to draft a corner either in the first or second round to at least like get ready for that, because behind him, like especially still, right? We got Levi for another year. They still got Akilla Witherspoon. They still got I think they still have James Pierre. No, they non-tendered him, so I don't think he's.
Did they? Okay, I can't remember if they did that. So corners right now: Peterson, Mallett, Miles. No, that's a safety. Akilla Witherspoon, Levi Wallace, Duke Dawson, Madre Harper. Yeah, we need someone else.
Yeah, they need another corner. I'm still just saying. I think Bryant Branch would be fun as a safety piece. That's another story.
Yeah, but I'm just so tired. Oh, it doesn't even. Oh, wait. So what are we? We didn't bring back Edmonds at all, huh?
Edmonds hasn't even signed anywhere yet.
Okay. You know who's lower on the depth chart that I'm proud of is Trey Norwood. Let's get him up to safety. Greg, let's take a quick commercial break, and then we'll be back with our 2-round mock draft.
Let's go.
The most controversial show on the internet.
And I thought this would be great. It's going to be controversial.
Is it?
The most impersonated show.
You have to find all the best drivers and then you can beat me. Why weren't you in elf practice?
The most cantankerous.
We don't have turns. I'm winning. I'm undefeated right now. My dad could beat up your dad. Say it.
The most professional.
So, excuse me, that verb. So upset.
Okay, I found this on the web for a serial
I didn't ask for Siri.
The most insightful.
I think it should be Vo because I don't think he's seen anything. Dexter's sister.
Oh, definitely.
No, Dee Dee.
Oh, I hate you so much. We're moving on.
You Googled your fucking show?
No, I literally
What is
just read
this
it.
shit?
Seriously.
You know the characters, Vo?
Not at all. I haven't.
Well, at least it'll be entertaining. The Rank Kings Court is in session every Tuesday at 6:30 on Thoughts from the Bench.
All right, KZ back is that good? That is very good. Devontae KZ is big back. Sid says, thoughts on Bud Dupree? If he comes back, I'd want him on cheap because I'd rather us pay Alex Highsmith out the wazoo because he's been doing well. But I think Bud didn't really stack up well in Tennessee the way they wanted. Greg, thoughts?
Well, they got him on his second contract, which is usually the big one.
Off the year where he was a mean MFer.
Yeah, and there was definitely talk like in Pittsburgh that a lot of it, and you could say Highsmith was probably credited with this as well, was partially due for the fact that he was playing opposite TJ Watt. Although Highsmith put up numbers like when Watt was hurt.
Do you think you could get a sack opposite TJ Watt? One sack.
One sack in a 17-game season?
Yeah. Here's my thing. I don't think they'd block you. So I think you got a good shot. I don't think they'd block me either. I got gout. I can't do shit.
Yeah, you'd be hopping on one leg, actually.
Yeah, facts.
I don't know. I could probably do a speed rush. I might be able to go underneath an offensive tackle to be able to go for it.
I want to see your swim moves. It's just crawling under his leg.
Yeah, it's not even like trying to bat at it. It's just literally like whoosh, going under your leg and shit. Yeah.
Greg, do you want the first pick or the second pick? We're going to alternate, guys. This is a 2-round mock draft. 2-round mock draft. First or second pick, Greg?
I'm gonna go second.
Okay.
I'm gonna challenge myself with the Texans on this one.
Yeah. So here we go, guys. Greg, are we drafting what we would do or what we think will happen? It's very early in the process still. I think we can do what we would do.
Yeah, let's do what we would do.
All right. I am getting Mook Show notification now. All right, I'm on the clock, Greg. I'm the Carolina Panthers. I just traded a bag. Not only did I trade a bag to get the first overall pick, I also signed a lot of guys. I signed Miles Sanders, who I'm very excited about. I think, we moved away a wide receiver, so I might go wide receiver here. It's crazy. Now, if I'm the Carolina Panthers, I'm not going Richardson because as much as I think Frank Reich is great there, I don't trust. And didn't the Panthers just sign a quarterback? Who did they just sign at quarterback?
God damn,
Can't
remember.
It's somebody that's like a solid backup. It's not Gardner. Gardner signed with the Colts. Andy Dalton. So Andy Dalton, Matt Corral, Jacob Eason. Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
So what I'm saying here is I think that they see it and they go for, because they have Andy Dalton, they can let him sit. I do think this is the proper time to try to make an offense work around a guy like Bryce Young and see what Frank Reich can do with Bryce Young.
Okay. All right, now you're basing that off of the fact, too, that he's clearly the best quarterback for what you have right now?
He's clearly the best quarterback in this class. And if you trade up like that, it is to get the best quarterback in this class. Tape shows Bryce Young. Combine shows Bryce Young. See, I get that Stroud might be the most accurate guy in this, and he could be the number one overall pick. All four of them could be. For me, none of it negates what Bryce Young proved to me when he was in college.
That's fair. I think we're going to be splitting hairs this entire time trying to figure out who actually is the best quarterback in this class. And I think the safe way to go, honestly, is to say that it's got to be it's
the best guy. It's a safe pick.
Literally the guy that won a national championship already. To see how this goes, I think it's Bryce Young without a doubt.
Texans, Greg.
Okay, so. And give me one sec. I'm actually pulling it up on my phone, so I'm keeping track of it. Okay. So I feel like the obvious answer for this is to say quarterback, because I can't imagine that you're bringing in a new coach and you probably want to have a franchise guy to go with it.
Yeah.
But I feel like with the way that the Texans are, I think I'm not opposed to the fact that they know that this is going to be a long process, and I'd rather they go for maybe the quarterback that they want next year when it's a little bit better. And I think they get a guy that could be a franchise-changing talent for them, a guy that could be a leader, and a guy that could probably be the face of their franchise on the defense for a while. And I'm going to say Will Anderson.
You think the Texans go Will Anderson, or you would go if you were the Texans, Will Anderson?
I would, yeah.
Who are you? You're wheeling out Davis Mills again?
For another year, either that or I get a guy on veteran minimum for this year.
So
see what happens.
you're also planning on having the first pick next year, is what I just
more
heard.
than likely, because I don't have Lovie Smith trying to win a game, so that at least is something I don't have to worry about.
I think that's an insane pick, but I don't hate it. We were going to do a million of these. It doesn't matter.
I feel like first off, and just for the point, I do feel like this Texans pick is also prime for a trade down because I just feel like Will Anderson fits there perfectly. I really do. I feel like DeMeco Ryans saw what a good defense did for him in San Francisco, especially when they had a 7th-round quarterback playing for them the entire time and their defense kept them in games. Granted, they had an elite offense to work with McCaffrey and Debo and Ayuk and Kittle and all that and a very good O-line. But I think Anderson is the type of player that the Texans have needed for a while. There's no questions about him either, is the big thing too. They need just really good football players on that team.
Okay. I am the Cardinals. I am confused and shocked. For me, as the Arizona Cardinals right now, they don't need a quarterback at this moment. I do believe they get rid of Kyler in the next 2 years and go that route, but there's no point. There's no reason to try to take it here. I would have gone Will Anderson easily. Now comes into an interesting conversation because for me, Greg, I have no issue currently right now taking Jalen Carter for the Cardinals. I'm going to. I think it's all going to be fine is kind of my POV on it. I do think, though, however, when we get closer to draft time, we're having conversations with Carter around the 9, 10, 11 spot, too. And I would be floored if the Cardinals are drafting at 3 on draft night.
Yeah, remember that talk I had about the combine and how workouts can, only have to do so many wonders for you. But that Carter workout this week was bad.
Yes.
I don't remember if it was Dre or Ping who brought it up, but there is logic to be said about the fact that he's dealing with a lot right now and it probably affected him. Sure, I can understand that, but also damn,
yeah, I don't
dude,
accept that.
I can't. I can't for a guy that's been in Georgia for as long as he has, who has the clout about him and stuff.
You've been the best in your class for 2 years. You go to Georgia, a top 3 program, no matter the year, top 1 right now, and you're telling me you have to sit out your pro day for cramps?
Yeah, you're not in shape, you're overweight, you can't do your basic drills that you probably do in practice. I
agree.
Man, no, I can't. I can't just give the excuse of him going through a lot. I can't.
I also I don't
weak.
see. There's no guard I like here. I like Torrance a lot. There's no corner worth a top 5. I love Christian Gonzalez. He's not there. Jalen Carter is the only player left with Will Anderson off the board that the Cardinals should be happy with there. You are up, my good sir, to the team that just signed Gardner Minshew today, the Colts.
Over under 3.5 starts this year for Gardner Minshew.
Over?
Okay.
Yeah. I think he's the starter.
Yeah, so I have my pick of quarterbacks at this case right here. And I do agree with you. When the tape is good, it's really good. He played great against Georgia. The talent is there. I'm going to go CJ Stroud. I do like Stroud. I think I'm not crazy about the weapons that he's working with the Colts, but they do have a very good running game. So that should at least help him to that degree. And I think in terms of between him and Levis, it's very close, but I think Stroud is just a little bit better of a player.
Yeah, that's fair. I think Stroud to the Colts was my feeling gut selection way back when. Mm-hmm. I think it's a great pick. I think it's the correct pick. I'm up for the Seattle Seahawks here, Greg. I don't see them. The tough thing is I could see them taking Richardson and walking away and going, okay, we just paid Geno a 3-year hefty contract. We're getting the guy for next, but we also didn't get anyone in the first round yet to help.
That's true.
that
They
quarterback.
do have 2 first-round picks, so that's working for them.
The other side of it, though, is you go Anthony Richardson here. You go whatever route. What kept Pete Carroll awake last year? Their lack of pressure up front.
Mm-hmm.
This division, for the first time in its existence, is winnable. We
it is.
don't know what the 49ers are doing at quarterback. We don't know what's going to happen in LA if Matt Stafford can even play. We don't know what's going to happen in Arizona. For me, you don't win 4+ games, then you're over, and go sign a quarterback the next year. I get that you might not, but hey, guess what, Greg? If they suck, and they really do suck, next year's class, as we've said a lot, is better. Give me the guy they're extremely tied to. I think the Travon Walker of this class that is rising upwards, Tyree Wilson out of Texas Tech, freak athlete, a guy up front, someone that you know, like, hey, he might not. Like, for me, Myles Murphy's safe. Tyree Wilson's the guy that's going to jump off boards.
Yep. Tyree Wilson fits the MO of like defenders they look for, just freak athletes in
I
general.
will say I don't think Jalen Carter gets past 5 if Seattle's here and Jalen Carter's available.
No, Jalen Carter will definitely go to a team that has multiple first-round picks because they want to hedge their bets.
Yep.
Like they would absolutely like take a chance on him because they know they have another pick coming up that won't
If
necessarily.
he falls to
hurt
10
them.
at Eagles, they're going to shit themselves.
Oh God, that defensive line is going to be.
Who better to
terrifying.
learn from than Fletcher Cox? But anyways, you're
Right.
up for your team, Greg, which is why I now know you picked that pick. You got the Lions at 6.
Yeah, so I'm in kind of the same struggle as you. Like, I could take Anthony Richardson because I still am not the biggest Jared Goff fan, and his contract is absurd, to say the least.
Yeah.
So that's a thought that's going in my head. But I also look at the rest of this team, and they are ready to make a run in the North because Packers are going to be a mess.
Yep.
Bears are rebuilding. The Vikings defense is still atrocious, even though they probably still could. They still could turn a corner this year, perhaps. But I'm looking at options that are going to help this team win now. I look at that secondary. They just got Cam Sutton, but I think adding a skilled player that could be versatile and could do wonders for that team would be huge. And it's going to be I don't think it's going to be who you're expecting. And it's going to be a guy that I talked about earlier. I'm going to go Brian Branch.
At 6.
At 6, yeah.
You know I got to scroll to find him, right?
He's at 20. So.
Why a safety here? Out of curiosity.
Everything that I have read and seen with Brian Branch,
Yeah.
he is the type of safety that can play all over the field. You can use him in multiple sets. I love
good
Kirby
point.
Joseph as the center field type safety that they already got. So if you move Branch up into the box, maybe play him as a slot/nickel backer type guy, that defense becomes a much more of a pain to work with. And also, I think the edge talent is still deep enough that they could get a quality guy to pair with Aiden Hutchinson, maybe with their next pick or in the next round if they want to go that route too. So going with a guy that I think is going to shoot up draft boards coming into a month from now, I think it's going to be Brian Branch.
I think this is the earliest Brian Branch will be mocked, even by his own family. I'm not hating on it. I think it's a good one. I've seen a lot of guys go here. That's the first Brian Branch one, Greg. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
Just interesting.
It's an option. I'm just saying.
It 100% is. That's why we do this.
for
I,
thought.
as the Raiders, just shit myself because 2 quarterbacks are still there. The Raiders did sign Jimmy Garoppolo. They're in a weird, we are selling our players, but we also have a really high-paying wide receiver. We are selling our players, but we did just sign a quarterback who's somewhat of a bridge, but still quite expensive.
And also my defense is awful and probably need help really badly.
Yeah, so I see a lot of things here, but you know what I definitely do see? I see that rat Josh McDaniels buying 4 more years onto his contract there by signing Will Levis.
Getting the guy for the future. I like
I didn't have my guy, even though I signed Jimmy Garoppolo. That's him. So get Will. He doesn't have to start. You have Jimmy for... Really, dude, I think you got Jimmy for 2 years and let Will sit and learn and develop that team and go after some stuff. They very easily here could go Myles Murphy. They very easily could go Christian Gonzalez, Paris Johnson. Go another route. When you have Will Levis sitting there, Greg, and you don't need to start him, Richardson would also be a nice one here because you don't got to start him. I personally believe the Raiders, the way they operate, they want the big howitzer arm. They want it. They don't want someone that they have to coach too much like Richardson. I just see Will Levis there, so give me him at 7. You got the Falcons at 8, brother.
Yeah, so this one is slightly easy for me, slightly easy for me, and here's why. The Falcons, I think, have talent, but goddamn, they have no pass rush whatsoever. They need help on that line. They run a 4-3. I think that they are going to go with the guy that blew up the combine and a guy that I love because I watched him at Pitt, Kalijah Kancey. Now, they have not updated this board in a while, I think.
He is 44th.
Yeah, he's 44. So, but I believe that he is also going to be a riser coming up soon, and I give Kalijah Kancey 8 overall.
I'm I'm the Chicago Bears.
These picks are throwing you off so bad. I love it.
Yeah, I don't even hate it. I'm the Chicago Bears. I'm sitting there at 9. A couple things going through my head. So we made
Did you shit yourself again on this one? Or
I
no?
did, particularly because of one very. I will explain why I shit myself, but it's not because I'm the Bears. So I'm sitting here as the Bears. For me, looking at team needs, just to clarify, the Bears tackle, wide receiver, guard. They need that offensive line help. Obviously, if you have a shot at Anderson or Carter, you go that route. If you're the Bears, it makes sense. It fits. But if you're really trying to help out Justin Fields and you're really trying to get it in there, you take one of the tackles here. For me, Greg, Paris Johnson, Broderick Jones, they're both bona fide home run tackles. Just kind of depends where you want to go with it. I am going to go Paris Johnson Jr. here. I could easily see Broderick Jones going higher. I could also see, is it Antoine Johnson, I believe?
Antonio Johnson, yeah, for A&M.
No. Anton Harrison. I'm so sorry, out of Oklahoma.
Oh, okay.
Anton Harrison, who is particularly, I was just listening to a podcast about him, he's a right tackle by nature. So any team that does have a set, so I was looking at the Jets was one for him. I could see him rising up boards for that reason. Paris Johnson, Bears, be happy. We got all this stock, and we got the best tackle in a class that's not terribly deep at tackle, but like a little top heavy. Happy. You're up for the Eagles.
All right. So just coming off a Super Bowl run, everything's looking good. They're getting a lot of their guys back at kind of cheaper deals, so it's kind of working out very well for them. An area that I think they probably should address at some point. I would maybe get a guy kind of ready to take over for Brandon Graham when he leaves because they are very good on the defensive line. They run too deep notoriously. Give me a guy that is going to also be a late riser because of the tape, and he's also very young, so he doesn't have to play right away. Lucas Van Ness.
Okay, Van Ness is the interesting guy because he doesn't have that much tape, but he's a freak show athlete.
Mm-hmm. Little different for what they're used to because he's kind of more slight, I'd say, compared to their typical defensive ends, but he can definitely gain weight, spend a year kind of learning from along that lines. He can get in as a rotational piece, maybe like third down, pass heavy type sets and stuff. So that I think that's something they can work with. And they have another first round pickup coming. So it can be looked at as a premium while also maybe addressing a need down the line.
I think I would have gone corner still, even with Slay and Bradbury coming back. But I just feel like they're going to avoid corner now because they signed their guys, which is fine, to 3-year deals. I'm up. This is the team I'm shitting myself for, Greg. I am the Tennessee Titans. I stood true at 11. This feels like when the Patriots got Mac Jones, which was like, okay, we're going to take him without moving. Give me Anthony Richardson to the Tennessee Titans. I cannot think of a better situation for the Titans than to be able to get Richardson, run with Tannehill for one more year, and then come out next year, Greg, and genuinely go, Malik, you were a third-round guy. Richardson, you're a first-round guy. Battle it out in camp. Let's see what happens. Tannehill's going to be their guy this year. I would be elated. Now, granted, I could easily see them go Broderick Jones here. I could see them go Skoronski. That line is terrible, but you're then moving it to a line that's terrible with two very athletic quarterbacks. You're up for the Texans. They previously took Will Anderson. Were you hoping Richardson was falling?
Not so much, honestly, because I'm still not crazy about him. The Texans would just not be a great fit for him, I think. I'm going to address the other line now. In this case, I'll go offensive line. Now, I could go Jones, perhaps. I don't know if Laramie Tunsil's going to stick around, so it wouldn't be the worst idea to get another massive tackle. But I think every piece on that O-line is struggling. So give me a guy with a bit more position flexibility, and I think could go a long way depending on where he goes. Give me Peter Skoronski.
Yeah, those tiny little arms, he feels like he might get shoved into guard, but the good thing is he can play all 5 spots.
Yeah, he can play every spot, and he knows what to do.
Yep.
Just because he doesn't have the long arms and is like the massive athlete that like Jones is and stuff, his technique is still sound, and he played at a very high level when he was a left tackle at Northwestern. So it's not like he's not going to be a great tackle. I don't think he'll be solid to start.
I'm up for the Jets. This is very easy. I mentioned his name before, but I'm not going to go with Anton. I am going to go with Broderick Jones here. Get a tackle in. I did not expect him to be here, which is why I was looking at some other picks. So give me what could be the top tackle in the class to really help Aaron Rodgers there in the trenches. Got Patriots, Greg.
Patriots, this one is easy for me. I'm adding some more defensive weapons to that because Belichick loves his defense, and I'm getting a gift fallen to me at a guy that is tested off the charts at the combine and is falling to me at 14. Give me Christian Gonzalez.
Yeah, he's the one guy I've been hanging my hat on. I was very proud. I called him my top corner back at the beginning of it. I watched one tape of his, and I was like, I love this dude.
And then you saw the combine, and it was like, oh my God.
Silky, as Dre said. I'm up for the Packers. This is a really interesting one because you got Jordan Love. Their needs are wide receiver, tight end, edge, tackle, safety. This is tough. If there was one wide receiver that was absolutely elite, I think he goes here. I don't love the tight end situation just because there are a lot of tight ends in this class, so I don't want to take Kincaid in them.
Yeah.
I do think I want to help out Jordan Love with this pick, but like the other side of the ball, we were not great on defense. We didn't get much pressure. Miles Murphy's sitting right there, but honestly, Greg, with everything we know, new quarterback, I am going to go the wide receiver route. Because they don't have anyone there, I am going to go with who I think is the surefire safest out of the three of them. Give me Jordan Addison.
Okay.
And here's why. Quentin Johnson, sometimes you watch his tape and you go, he's a freak. He's Kelvin Benjamin with speed. Other times you watch his tape and you go, I don't think he knows how to play football. He catches the ball like at his feet when he jumps. It's just tough. And then Jackson Smith and Jigba, dude, the tape on him goes from wide receiver 1 in the league to wide receiver 3 on the worst team. I think Addison genuinely has the best route running out of the three of them. I think that's something that if you get him in there with Jordan Love early, you really, really, really can build on that, dude. That team has not a single... I mean, they have Watson, who's already big. So do you need Johnson? Do you need Jackson? Get a route runner to pair with Christian Watson. Walk out of there happy.
Yeah, and for the record, I kind of find it interesting that you had similar comparisons with Stroud, where like the one tape is excellent, and they're both literally probably on the same tape. When they're both good, they're very good. When they're both bad, they're very bad together. I find that fascinating with that. I was honestly, when you were talking about receivers, your favorite guy I would have expected to say would have been Zay Flowers here.
I love Zay Flowers. He has not done enough to rise up boards for me to select him here. I think the Boston College stay is what's going to kill him, but I do think he goes first round. I like Zay Flowers more than Quentin Johnson in terms of what I've read and seen, but Quentin Johnson also has the ability to go, like he has superstar ability. Zay Flowers to me feels like an uncut gem there. So you're up for the Commanders.
I wish I could think about maybe adding to the offense, honestly, but that defense, I think they're a lot. Not having Chase Young really kind of screwed them this year, I would say. So I'm going to add to that secondary, get some more pieces back there. And I'm going to lean towards Devin Witherspoon.
Oh, you fucker. That was who I wanted for the Steelers.
I really like Devin Witherspoon. There's going to be knocks on him because he didn't test or anything like that, but everything you see on tape with him is just he is so good at what he does with as
great
a corner,
numbers in college.
Yes, absolutely excellent. I don't think he is the physical specimen Christian Gonzalez is, but I think he knows how to play the position, which is something that which is you need, especially in the NFL. So I think Witherspoon's the way to go.
Yeah, that sucks. I wanted Witherspoon. I thought you were going to go another guy here. As far as tackle goes, I could, Jones, Harrison, Wright. I think they all feel like guys that the Steelers could go after, but I'm not doing that. I think we've handled the line fairly well. I think we've gone after some free agents. The line classes, we can get a good one at that 32nd pick, so going to sit there. Not going to go edge. I like what we have. Not going to go wide receiver. Defensive tackle was an interesting one. If Cansey's here, I would love that pick. I'm not sold on Brisset yet.
I've come around on Brisset a bit.
Okay.
Honestly,
I mean, his sister died. A lot of stuff happened
not even just the story, but like I would say injuries probably caught up with him a lot, and he tested very well. Like I could tell Tomlin likes him. Like they're at Clemson's pro day and stuff. He's watching like his workouts pretty intently and stuff. Like I think he likes him.
I just don't think he's a nose tackle, which is really what we need. He feels like he'd be more the Cam Hayward than the Larry Ogunjobi in our defense. And I personally, Greg, I'm holding out that DeMarvin Leal is the next guy on that line. Now, if he plays inside or outside, whatever. Anyways, long story short, I know we're talking about forever. The prodigal son returns home, Joey Porter Jr. for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I think as we get closer, Brisset and Joey Porter Jr. are going to be like the ones that I think most fans probably want.
Yeah.
I think that's probably fair to say. The knock on Porter is that he's very grabby and stuff like that. But I think, again, because they got Peterson, I think they can kind of ease him into a starting role down the line with that. They don't need him to like put up numbers right away necessarily.
I agree. I don't want Ringo here. I don't want Cam Smith, but I would not be shocked either if we go Clark Phillips for the ability to play a little nickel.
I wouldn't be shocked at Deontay Banks either. I think he's been testing very well.
Tomlin loves his Maryland guys.
He does.
Greg, you're up for the Lions. The Lions previously selected Brian Branch out of safety there, out of Alabama. You are up now for them again.
This one's easy for me. He's falling a little bit because he's been injured, so he hasn't been able to test.
Agreed.
Give me another guy to pair on that defensive line with Aiden Hutchinson, and give me Miles Murphy.
They would, if they walked out with those two guys, Greg, there would be an absolute parade in Detroit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they somehow tripped their way into having an elite level offense, but still need to work on the defense. So
they stumbled backwards into an elite offense.
Yeah. Although the not getting Jamal Williams, I think, is going to hurt them in the long run, honestly. But that's another story.
Fair. I am currently up for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They recently signed Baker Mayfield, so they're sitting pretty. Call me crazy, Greg. This is where Bijan goes. Bijan Robinson to the Bucs.
Ooh, okay.
So they currently have Vaughn. They have Chase Edmonds. They let go of playoff Lenny's gone. They've been kicking the tires on Zeke. But Greg, if you want Baker Mayfield to succeed, Bijan Robinson is going to feast in that division.
Mm-hmm. Even if it's Kyle Trask back there or something
Agreed.
Like that. Like, yeah, that's the more I think about it, the more that is actually a perfect scenario. And I am hearing Jerry Jones right now on his yacht, like throwing everything he can possibly have at that.
Should have moved up, Jerry.
You could tell. I just have I feel like Bijan Robinson to the Cowboys is like the apple of his eye.
Oh yeah,
right there.
Of course.
Yeah,
him and Tony Pollard there.
The
God. Seattle Seahawks took Tyree Wilson edge. You are up for them at 20.
I do like Tyree Wilson there. That's an athlete that they love, and I think I'm gonna keep with that athlete mojo that they kind of like with their type of offense. Or not offense, but with their defense. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get an athletic linebacker to play down there. Might need a little bit tweaking to kind of get adjusted, but give me Trenton Simpson.
Yeah, Simpson versus Sanders is going to be the interesting one for me, but that's a good pick.
I think they both tested very well. Sanders has definitely shown the capability to be an off-ball linebacker and stuff, but I think Simpson is essentially the type of guy that everyone was drafting very high because they wanted to figure out how to play in their defense. But I think now the NFL has adjusted a bit better with that. And I mean, the Seahawks were, I think, the ones that started that perfectly. Like Cam Chancellor was a linebacker that they moved to safety and he became a stud. So
fair.
I think they know what they're doing.
I am up, Greg, for the Chargers. Did you see Nasir Adderley retired?
I did. I was so upset by that because he's only been in the league for what,
4 years? Yeah. So what I'm getting to, if Brian Branch is available here, I would not be surprised. if that's the pick. For me,
Still got Derwin James. Love
Oh,
Derwin James.
100%.
Yeah.
Love their secondary. But the Chargers, for me, they have a decent line. Running back situation, I could see them maybe kicking the tires on Bijan with Spiller, but with Austin Eckler trying somewhere out. Could see tight end here, but I'm not floored on it. But this is a situation where you have Keenan Allen getting older, Mike Williams consistently hurt. I think this is a very, very comfortable landing spot for one of these two receivers. This is where, though, I'm going to make the statement and go Zay Flowers.
Wow. Okay. I thought for sure this would be the JSN spot, but
So
all right.
I like
mean,
JSN
he's
here
your
for
guy.
the route running ability. I like Quentin Johnson because he mirrors Mike. If you're going to take a receiver that steps in and learns from Keenan, Zay Flowers' tape is great.
That's fair. Yeah, even like at Boston College with Phil Jerkovic throwing him the football, man, he was excellent. So.
Phil Jerkovic catching absolute darts from us on a mock. Greg, there's a chance we might just keep this to one because that took a long time for us to get to the first round. So
that's the problem because we start talking about other stuff. And
we'll just keep it to one
ends
round.
Yeah, all right, that's fair.
You got
all
the
right,
Ravens, good man.
Yeah, I'm up for the Ravens. Secondary took a bit of a hit, but I mean, they have Kyle Hamilton, so they're going to be fine. Guard, I could see maybe just because they lost Ben Powers.
Yeah,
but again, the Ravens are so good. Kind of like the Steelers in that sense too. Is like they just know how to like build depth and just get guys like ready to kind of keep rolling after that. So I'm looking at guys available, and I'm gonna take a little bit of a swing in the dark here. I think this guy's an athlete. I think he's going to be a pass rusher. I think he'll be a problem, and I think he's going to test very well at his pro day. I'm going to go Isaiah Foskey from Notre Dame.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That feels like a Raven. Notre Dame, Hamilton, Stanley. They got
Yeah, he might be. Yeah, you know what it is now that Ozzie Newsome's not the GM. Maybe it's a Notre Dame bias they're going to develop now towards that. So we'll see. But yeah, I think Foskey in a 3-4 defense, what they run, I think could be very dangerous.
Agreed.
For them. So.
Yeah. There's two players I really, really like here for the Vikings.
Okay.
One of them, the one I'm not going to go with, Greg, is your boy Deontay Banks from Maryland.
Okay.
I think they do need corner help. Cam's here, Keely's here, Clark's here, Deontay, Emmanuel Forbes. But with all these names, I think they could get someone in the second and be very happy. So I am going to land Justin Jefferson some help. This is where Jackson Smith and Jigba goes.
All right. I was actually hoping to get him with my next pick. But yeah, now that Thielen isn't there anymore, yeah, like Justin Jefferson desperately needs
he needs some young help.
Mm-hmm.
Even with Hawk there. So yeah, you're up for the Jaguars now.
Yeah, this one sucks because I really want to get another receiver for Trevor Lawrence. Like, I like Calvin Ridley. He's going to be a little bit.
Christian Kirk, Zay Flowers. You just hate them all.
No. Well, Zay Flowers, you already took, so he's not.
No. I'm sorry.
There.
No. Zay Jones.
Yeah, they don't have he doesn't have a guy, like I feel like the guy that he was like targeting a lot last year ended up being Evan Ingram.
Yeah, it was.
And Ingram got paid because of it. So good on him. Not trying to knock him or anything. So I was hoping for JSN because I like him way more than Quentin Johnson, but I'm gonna say if I'm gonna I'll add Johnson here because I think he's a speed dynamic that they desperately need.
I think it's a great
pick.
pick.
A guy, yeah, like I think he's way too highly ranked at like 10 overall on PFN, and I hope that they adjust that or something like that. But I think based on how the board is falling, I think Johnson would be a good value pick at 24 for them. So
fair. I'm up for the Giants. This is where he goes, Greg. Give me Deontay Banks out of Maryland. Some corner help for the Giants defense there. You're up for the boys. The boys. Here's what I'll say. We'll go to pick 32 so we get the Steelers, and then we'll be happy.
All right, I like it. Yeah, Cowboys. Jerry Jones is furious that he's not able to get his boy Bijan Robinson here. So quite simply, I look at the board and how it's falling, and honestly, this would be a fun one. They're losing Noah Schultz, so they might as well get some tight end help right here.
I like it.
And I think and here's the thing. the two guys here are very tempting to try to figure out which one is the
Yes.
better option. So I'm going to go with the guy that I think has a little more flash that we know Jerry Jones like. I'm going to go Darnell Washington from Georgia.
The Kyle Pitts of this class, Dre said, and then he took it right back.
Yes, thank God for that. Brock
So
Bowers,
good.
way more.
Eagles are signing Greedy Williams.
Man, that secondary is going to be fun.
Agreed. I think that's a great landing spot for him.
Yeah.
I'm up for Buffalo. Their current needs are safety, guard, running back, cornerback, wide receiver. I would love nothing more, Greg, than to sit here and take Jahmyr Gibbs. But I am going to go with a guy that I think Buffalo themselves would love, a guy that instantly steps in for Cody, who just signed with the Bengals, I believe. Give me Osiris Torrance for the Bills.
Ooh, like that a lot. Even though they're not a run-heavy team, so I'm curious how he's going to do from a pass-blocking perspective.
Totally fair, but he's absolutely the best interior guy, him or Skoronski, depending on what you look at. And I get it totally with you, but also their run has sucked. So get James Cook a little help there. You got
All
the
right, so I'm up for the-
Bengals. Is it
up for the
back-to-back tight
Bengals.
ends, Greg?
Yeah, it's back-to-back tight ends. Yeah, they just lost.
Hayden Hurst.
Yeah, they lost Hayden Hurst. Thank you. So yeah,
Yeah.
they don't really have anyone to work with.
I'm
And
curious who you take here.
it's a deep tight end class, but this is a guy that still coming into the year was a top 5 overall talent. Like I think there's something. I think he's getting knocked down a lot just because no one's going to take a tight end that high. So give me Michael Mayer.
Yeah,
I
the
think
Dalton
he'll be a
Kincaid,
stud.
Michael Mayer things feel like a better comp than Darnell just because Darnell's like 6'8". So I
Yeah.
think that's a great pick.
Yeah, I'm surprised Dalton Kincaid is getting so much love out of nowhere. I think it's just because Utah had a great year.
Yeah.
That's why he's starting to get a lot of attention and all that. But like, yeah, coming into this year, Michael Mayer was looked at as a great tight end pick. I think it's just because Notre Dame struggled most of the year that's why he might be getting knocked down a bit on boards. But no, I think Mayer is a great selection in the first round.
I am stuck between two guys, a Georgia
Saints.
guy and a Clemson guy for the Saints.
Okay.
I'm going to go for the higher ranked guy right now and take Brian Brisset. I really wanted to take Nolan Smith here.
Honestly, Brisset's the better way to go just for the fact that they did lose so much from their defensive
Yep.
line in free agency.
He feels like a saint with Hendrickson like starting there, Cam John or Jordan Cameron Jordan.
Yeah, no,
Brisset
Brian Brisset with the
feels
Saints would
right.
be good. Yeah.
Go.
And I'm still curious with Nolan Smith if whoever drafts him thinks he's better as a 3-4 outside linebacker than a 4-3 end.
Fair. He's fast
I'm
as all
curious.
hell. The Eagles are up, and you took Luca Van Ness for them before, buddy.
Yes, Luke Van Ness.
Luca Lukes.
Luca Lukes. Okay, so they got their edge guy. So now I'm kind of. This one would be a real kick in the nuts, honestly. But I think this would be fun. We know they drafted Landon Dickerson to be the eventual heir apparent, and I think they have other guys too that could fill that role. But the Eagles are so good at drafting trench guys. I'm gonna put the center in here. Give me John Michael Schmitz.
Dude, so there's two reasons I hate it. One, because fuck you. I want him. Two, the other reason I hate that is because Cam Jurgens was hand-selected to be the next center for Kelsey.
Yeah.
And because here's the thing, I got in a fight with a Philly fan where I said, well, no, Landon Dickerson would just slide in. And they're like, no, Kelsey picked Cam Jurgens to be the next guy. And I was like, okay, like Landon Dickerson's still your best center. Regardless, I don't hate it.
He centered a team that won a national championship. Like he's clearly
That's where I was at.
Yeah.
I don't
don't
think
get
they
it.
go center, but here's the other thing. They could easily move Jurgens to the other guard and play Schmitz in the center, and then they just have another elite offensive line. So I think it's a great pick, Greg.
Yeah, so they know what they're doing with that. And yeah, Schmitz, he's a very good center. Like the tape that has been shown on him and stuff is he's a bit undersized, but he can hold his own.
Yes.
So it's not like he's gonna be like tossed aside or anything like that. So I think he'd be a great pick here. Then they'll figure out like who's gonna be the starting center next year when Kelsey finally retires, I think.
Yeah. I'm up for the Chiefs. I could see them going Smith, Ringo, Phillips, one of those corners here.
I feel like you're dreaming of Zay Flowers falling.
If Zay Flowers was here, I would take him. I'm stuck between a few things here, Greg, and I'm thinking about. Here's my dilemma with them. They need corner help, which is fine. But with these three guys here, you can wait. They need tackle help, which I'm leaning on. But at the other side of it, they lost Juju. Mm-hmm. They have Kadarius Toney, and that's kind of it at wide receiver. Sky Moore's there, but he didn't do jack shit. Give me a guy, for the sake of today, that can blow the fucking top off a team. Give me Jalen Hyatt.
Okay.
I feel good about that. I feel like that's another burner for Mahomes to go off on, and that extends Kelsey's career.
I like it.
So
that would be a fun addition for them.
The Pittsburgh Steelers have taken Joey Porter. Who's the last pick, Greg?
Well, they clearly don't need any of the corners that are still available on this board.
That would be AWOL if they took Smith or Ringo.
If they took multiple corners, right. Yeah, I think Dre might have a conniption in that case. I still think they need receiver help because I'm sorry, I'm not going into the year with Deontay Johnson, George Pickens, and Calvin Austin as my top three. They need more. I don't see anyone here that I would probably take with that pick, though. So
okay,
yeah,
you scared the shit out of me.
Sorry. Linebacker depth would be nice because I think that they do need it. I'm really upset how bad of a pro day Siaki Ika had because that's not going to be a pick I'm going to lean towards now. So kind of just going over the board, I think Gervon Dexter would be a great pick here, but give me a guy that I think Tomlin really likes and wowed at the combine and is a guy that could probably be in a pinch needed as a swing tackle to start and eventually be a starter. Give me DeWan Jones.
I was curious if it was DeWan Jones or Darnell Wright. Those are the two names I had pegged for you.
Yeah, Jones is Jones is definitely the tackle. Wright's the guy that I think they are going to convert to a guard if they are looking for it. But I think the way if they're going based off of pure talent and pure athleticism, I think it's DeWan Jones.
Greg, another wonderful episode of Two Beers Deep, my friend.
Another lovely episode of just me and you, while our producer that we brought back 2 months ago already asked for vacation. The fuck? Like, what the hell did he do to deserve it?
Nothing.
We don't take vacations here. Jeez.
Just 1 month in our entire history. Ladies and gentlemen, you can catch us on YouTube, Instagram, everywhere you can find podcasts. Listen to the audio version. And we'll see you next week. It'll just be Greg and I again next week, so we'll do the same type of stuff.
Seriously, again, 2 weeks in a row that he gets time off. This is some bullshit, if you ask me.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Two Beers Deep. We love and appreciate you, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.